Oh, okay. We're live here. I'm just going to give it a 5-second countdown. Four, three, two, one. All right. I want to jump into this. Found this article on Forbes, top 10 reasons founders are building personal brands. Recent article, music to my ears, because I'm working with a lot of executive coaches, Vistage chairs, small business owners, and the competition is absolutely fierce. I did a search recently just on Sales Navigator in LinkedIn for executive coaches and got it was like 2.8 million, uh, 2.9 million, I think, around there, executive coaches, and they're all reaching out to CEOs and C-suite executives. And so it just is, a dogfight out there, which is okay. I mean, it's crowded field. Everyone seems to call themselves a consultant or coach today, whether they're qualified or not. It's just the way it is. Everybody's online, and it just is, you know, happening. And so when I was reading this article, I just want to page through here and show you a couple things I pulled out of it that really resonated with me, and it just hits home. So first of all, this whole article is talking about how leaders are gravitating to building out their personal brand and why they do some stats here. So this was very interesting. So first of all, uh, the Forbes cited that 77% of consumers are more likely to buy from a company when its CEO uses social media, and 82% trust companies more when their senior executives are active online, and you reach more people and so forth. So this is talking about CEOs of businesses. Do you think this isn't true also for executive coaches, solopreneurs, small business owners? Of course it is. And you know, when you're an executive coach, business chair, whatever, you're reaching out to that CEO. They've got five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10 other people that are also up in their grill, hitting them up. And so you just got to be different. And when you show up, you've got to control your story and really control how that CEO looks at you and be the squeaky wheel that gets the grease and be different. And along the way, as you're reaching out and you're building a pipeline and you're uh, consistently nurturing this lead list, then you're building trust, knowability, likability. As you're going for the ask them to get on a Zoom or phone call. Certainly ask them to buy your product or service, that you have nurtured them along the way. And your personal brand, this is what it's about. It's not only elevating your personal brand to make sure that you have a story, that you pick fonts, colors, images that represent you, and you're getting out there and being consistent wherever you're showing up. Certainly on LinkedIn, email templates, invites to events you're doing, maybe in-person events or virtual events. I love LinkedIn Live and LinkedIn events. We do a ton of those. But wherever you're showing up, the brand is consistent. So there is a familiar take on you and what you're doing. You're getting out there. So uh, another point that comes up here, and I'll show you how this applies to coaches, is set the trends. So it says, don't copy what everyone else is doing, and make yourself the go-to expert. So I just go on massive rants about this with folks I'm working with, because what most people do is they share other people's content. Go read this article. Here's a top 10 list, over and over and over, but they're not creating original content, which sets you up as the expert. And so it's important to guide, teach, and help people with your content. Sharing other people's content is fine, like I'm doing now, to point this out, add some credibility to the idea of this personal brand, a Forbes article. So, but commenting on it and getting into it is a way to do it. And just don't constantly send out articles. Read this, here, read this, go read this. I saw this, I saw this. It's not going to do anything for you. And so you've setting the trends, having original content is key. So if you're an executive coach, uh, think about it. How can you help your constituents? Put yourself in their shoes. You know what their challenges are. You know what their opportunities are and what they're dealing with because you're working with them. So talk about those things and the solutions that come up in your meetings with CEOs, or maybe your Vistage chair. You have, group sessions going on. What's going on there? What are some of the best practices that are coming out of those meetings? Share that, talk about that, and really be thoughtful about the content you're putting out there. Another point it talks about is growing your network. And this is huge because you want to have a big network. And when you have a big network on LinkedIn, for example, a big email list, good things happen. People start to follow you, they see you, and you start to become familiar to more and more people. And if you're doing it right on LinkedIn, for example, your network is very strategic. It's not Tom, Dick, Harry, and Jane. You're connecting with people that are potential prospects or spheres of influence or whatever it is, but people you definitely want to, have in your network. And so those people are getting to know you while you may be reaching out to them. Again, growing your email list. This is growing your network. As you're doing campaigns to reach out and connect with people, you're gathering email. Email is critically important to have a process not only to gather email, get it into your distribution platform, but have thoughtful, helpful emails going out on a consistent basis. Certainly at least every other week. It's not too frequent. And these are emails that really are offering value. And when you do that, then you can start targeting people and measuring email, for example, who's opening, who's clicking, certainly who's replying. Those are very important stats, especially if you're running a very concentrated campaign with email. You're introducing maybe a testimonial or something. You have your landing page or an offer, or whatever it is, and people are clicking and opening. You want to know who those people are. Is it worth placing a call to that person because they are engaging with you? And this is a very good thing to do when you're sending out email, is track activity. So what this comes down to is think about your personal brand. Have you elevated it? Is it consistent wherever you're showing up? Are you different than somebody else? Are you controlling your story? What is your story? What's your value proposition? How do you help people? Who do you help? Why are you different than the next person? These are things that go into your messaging. And when you're elevating your brand, a couple things to think about is, one, don't make it all about you. Most people, it's I, me. Don't do that. You have a little bit of that, your background, why you're qualified, but then it's how are you helping people? What are the solutions you're focused on? Just put that out there, completely focused on your constituents. So have that messaging there, value proposition, develop that. And your brand also is make sure you take advantage of all the bells and whistles on LinkedIn. They continue to want you to add things on there like your voice recognition audio and your services page. They revamped that, and you can add media in different forms on your services page now. And there's hyperlinks at the top of your profile that can go to other places. Just make sure you understand all the things you can be doing on LinkedIn, for example, and take advantage of it. Because if you're not doing it, LinkedIn's going to suppress you. They want people that stand out on the platform because they're competing with all other platforms. And also, last I'll say, when you're elevating your brand and getting your brand out there and your content, think about how you're delivering that content. Are you doing lives like this? Are you shooting videos? What sort of content do you have? Are you using LinkedIn publishing platform? Are you, creating a big email distribution list and getting it out that way? So a lot to think about once you have your brand on how to get it out there, but just some good highlights here. All right.